Hello and welcome to another cup of coffee with me, Sandy. People who know me or who have watched my program over the years know that I have been involved in show business, and I've been with singers, dancers, painters, poets, film stars, you name it. It's been across the board. When I say with them, I mean I've either worked with them or they've been friends, or I've worked with them and then they become friends. But today is the first time that I have ever had the pleasure of interviewing somebody who won the Billboard Award for his best album, which is called Brooklyn Days. He's a guitarist, a jazz guitarist, a jazz singer, a writer, an engineer, producer. He's across the board. He's one man that can do it all. And you know what? He even comes from Gibraltar, although he doesn't live here. He lives in the United States of America. But let me introduce you to my guest today, whose name is Elie Massias. Elie, welcome to A Cup of Coffee. Thank you for joining me today. I know that you live in America, but you were born in Gibraltar. Tell me about it. Tell me a little bit about you.
So I was born in Gibraltar. My family's been there for several generations, at least 4, 5, or 6 generations since the Jews started to come into Gibraltar around 1716 after the British conquered Gibraltar. So the community started to come over, and part of my family, the Elie Massias family, came there, and also from my mother's side, my grandmother's families also were there. The Valenci family have also been in Gibraltar for many generations. So I was born there, born and bred, and and proud of it.
The guitar.
Sorry?
When did you start playing the guitar?
So my father's a guitarist also. He plays guitar, as a hobby. He plays some classical guitar, a little bit of my dad loves playing country and western songs. When he was in university in England, he really used to listen to the radio. So he used to listen to all these country and western songs. So we grew up, he used to play all these songs for us, these country and western songs, Home on the Range, Give Me a Home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, in the skies grow cloudy all day.
That's I wasn't expecting that.
I know, people are always surprised, but that's like in me and our family's DNA. We just grew up listening to my father. In fact, there's a recording of my father which I'm about to put up on the internet. He'll have it on Spotify of him singing a lot of these songs that we grew up listening. So when I was living in Boston and my parents came to visit once, and I had already a little studio set up there, I said to my dad, let's do a proper recording of a lot of these songs. So we have like maybe 18 songs of the classics that he used to sing, and we recorded them. And that this time I was here, I was like, let's get them all, put them on a CD, because they were back on cassette still. I put them on a CD, and then I said, okay, let's go and upload them onto the internet so that his grandchildren can listen to them, and people can listen to, he has a grandchild in London and kids around the world, so they can listen. My kids can listen to from San Francisco and Brooklyn or whatever, and it'll be a nice thing. They can listen to their grandfather sing these songs. Yeah,
absolutely wonderful. How did you get from Gibraltar over to America?
So what happened was that our generation, when the frontier closed with Spain, Franco closed the frontier. I think it was 69, if I'm not mistaken, 68, 69, and then we all grew up with the frontier closed, disconnected from the world, basically. In fact, I have the first record that I did in 1998 is called World in Fiction, which is basically that. We grew up in a world that was a fictional world because we were disconnected from the world. So it was a world in fiction. In fact, that song, World in Fiction, the lyrics are about us, hanging out together, imagining what the world was like. Then one of us would go to Israel, then come back and tell us stories about, wow, this is what's going on there, and this and that. And then eventually, when we were old enough, after high school, we all said, okay, let's go. And we all went to Israel because that was the, we all fantasized about going to Israel. Obviously, we heard all these stories about, the land, the Holy Land. So we wanted to go and visit the Holy Land, and that's what we did. Some of us stayed there. I have my cousin Yitzchak Atias. He's still in Jerusalem. My brother stayed there for many years. My brother had two different restaurants in Israel. My brother's like a professional restaurateur, chef. In fact, him and his wife, they live in Soto Grande and also in Gibraltar, and they have a Jewish heritage touring company. They're actually in Morocco right now doing a tour. They do tours all over this area, Portugal, Provence. They go to Tuscany, all over, just all these Jewish heritage tours. Yeah, that's my twin brother. Actually, he's my twin.
A twin? You're a twin?
Yeah, he's my twin brother.
Is he musical as well?
No, obviously he loves music, but no, he has other things that he enjoys. But no, I don't know. I took to the music for some reason. But
how did you get from Israel then to America?
So basically, I went to kibbutz in Israel, and then I was also in yeshiva in Israel, and then also I wanted to. I was in a band. There was a very well-known Jewish singer called Moshe Yes. I used to have a band. Used to be in a band with him, and then we used to play with him regularly. And then I said, I really want to go into the conservatory and learn music for real, like harmony and write for orchestra, because there was a mostly classical music conservatory in Jerusalem called the Jerusalem Academy of Music. So I got a scholarship to go there, and then I was there for 4 years because I had to do a 1 year of learning Hebrew. It was all in Hebrew. They call the mechina there. They're preparing, and then I get 3 years there. And then from there, I got into jazz, and I realized that if I wanted to really learn how to play jazz properly, I'd have to go to the States and really understand, culturally what's going on and to learn properly. So I applied to Berklee College of Music. I got a scholarship to go there too. And me and another friend of mine, we headed out there from Yerushalayim to Berklee College of Music, and I was there in Boston for a total of 7 years. I went to Berklee for 4 years, and then 7 years I met my wife in Boston. We got married, and then when our daughter was born, 3 months later, we moved down to New York. We got a truck, and we moved down to New York with no prospects. People were like, "What are you guys doing? You're crazy. What are you gonna go do there? Did you gonna play on the streets?" There's a gazillion musicians there. In fact, there's a joke that they say that in New York City you can't spit out of your house and not have it land on a musician, on a guitarist. It's a joke they have. There's so many musicians there that. But we moved against yeah, and we moved and we made it work. Thank God. We were in an apartment, and then little by little started to put things together, build a studio, and we made a life down there. We were there for 25 years, raised a couple of kids in New York City, in Brooklyn. So it was a good times. It was very great learning experience for sure, and New York really teaches you a lot of things.
In many shapes and forms. When you say you had a studio, did you make your own studio where you lived? Did you have enough space that you could make your own studio?
Yeah, we did. We had this apartment. It was on 7th Street in Park Slope, 7th Street, and we wanted to it was like a ground floor apartment. We didn't really like it. There was no natural light or anything. It was like, please, God, give us an apartment. And my wife give us some light. Show us the light. So my wife is really, she has a knack for finding things. We have a thing where it's like sometimes be like, I need this, and she's very good at finding. And so she was walking up the block, and they happened to be, it's a longer story, but this building became available, the whole building, and there was 3 apartments. And the landlord was there, and my wife just happened to be there and say, "Oh, we need an apartment." And we met him, and he was a very big family, very influential Greek family. He had his Mercedes, black window Mercedes parked outside, and they own many buildings in the city. They used to do a lot of electricity, big contracts. So this little building was like, well, this little, 3-apartment building, what is it? So we said, we're looking for a building, and he asked us, I remember him asking, what do you do? I said, well, I'm a musician. And he asked my wife, what do you do? My wife is a teacher, and she's an artist. And for some reason, he liked us. So he gave us the keys. So here he says, how much rent do you want to pay? He said, how much do you want to pay? I was like, at the time, I don't know, $750 a month. That was reasonable. So, okay, here. And he gave us the key to 2 apartments, because there was still a lady living in the first, but then she moved out. So basically, we had this whole building, 3 apartments. And so we got 2 of our friends to move into the 2 apartments. So we had the whole building for ourselves. And then with my friend who moved into the first apartment, my friend Zeke, we built a studio downstairs in the basement. We converted the whole basement into a recording studio, built the walls, the windows, soundproofing. We got a grand piano down there. And we went on to do many recording projects down there. Many influential, good quality recordings of many artists. Like really, the New York, we were like part of that New York scene at the time. It was like into the 90s, early 2000s. It was a good scene. Eventually, all of our friends moved out of the neighborhood because everybody got priced out. We were lucky enough because in that building, the landlord liked us, so he very hardly raised the rent. But all around us, it was all musicians. We had all moved into that area, Park Slope. Everybody was living by the park, and it was idyllic for a while. We were having, music sessions. We're playing gigs all around, and little by little, everybody got priced out. So everybody moved away, and we just happened to be some of the last ones to move up because we were able to stay because the landlord didn't raise the rent. Eventually, he took the building back. So we all had to leave, and the rents went up to $4,500 a month each apartment. They did a little renovation.
What happened to the grand piano?
It must still be there. I don't think, unless they chopped it up and burnt it in the backyard or something. I don't know. But that piano, we brought it down to the base. It got stuck on the stairs, between the stairs and the door, and we had to maneuver it, and finally got it down in there, and there it stayed, and that's it. When we moved out, we moved a lot of essential thing. I moved the essential equipment. There were some things that we left there because it was just too much to carry, like the piano, and there was like some other cumbersome things that we left there. And then the structure was there, the studio was there. Yeah. But when we moved upstate, then I took the good equipment up, and then I had my studio now upstate New York, in a house upstate New York in the Hudson Valley. That's where we live now.
What did you know about building a studio? You were a musician, you were a guitarist, classical, jazz, you were a pure guitarist and singer. How did you know how to build a studio?
Well, it was a great combination, because the couple that moved into the second floor was actually a childhood friend of my wife. She was a singer too, and actually we made her first record at the studio too. A lovely record. She's a wonderful singer, and that was one of the first records we made at the studio too. But her husband was a construction guy. He was a construction guy, so he could build anything. In fact, it was through him that I learned how to build a wall and use sheetrock. I had never done any of that. I didn't know how to do it. So he's the one who really helped us build everything, and he knew how to make the windows, and with him we learned, and that was part of the whole thing, because he helped us build the studio. And then his wife Katie came down, and we made her record in the studio. So it was a very symbiotic. Everybody was helping everybody out in the building. It was beautiful for a while. Very, very special to be friends. We have dinner together, this and that, and music, and it was a wonderful time. It was nice.
You not only play the guitar, you not only sing, you produce. You're an engineer. A musical engineer. You're a one-man band. I've been in recording studios with Rosemary Clooney, and there are lots of machines and lots of people there, and you are just you doing all this yourself. This is incredible.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays the equipment is a bit curved, for sure. It was a learning curve both for me and for my friend Zeke. My friend Zeke, who I had the studio with, had already had some recording experience. He had a little studio at home. So we brought his equipment, and then we started to buy. I bought some equipment, so we started to share and bring some more equipment into the studio until we had like a proper studio with a big mixing board, and then eventually we did that transition into digital. That was the time that digital music, computer music hadn't really taken off yet, but there was around that time, the 2000s, where people started to just move into digital music, and we bought all the new machines and moved from like tape into digital music, and so learned all the new programs, Pro Tools and Logic, and that was the whole learning experience. But we moved into that, and that became a skill. You know, we had like young children. I didn't want to be touring all the time, and a lot of my friends, you know, it's hard to have a proper family when you're like out on the road all the time. So I said, this was great. We put the studio together, and I could work in the studio, and sometimes I would go on tour for like a couple of weeks here and there, but it was like I wasn't going to be on the road making a living. It's not something I wanted to do. Once I realized what it is, I did some touring, but it wasn't, you know, I'm very happy I did that, because I'm, you know, it's not my kids, you know, I was close to my kids all the time, you know. It was
Your
nice.
music is filled with different countries. You have folk music, world folk music. You've got your Sephardic heritage. You've got America. You've got Gibraltar, and you've also got United Kingdom. So you have put everything into a melting pot, and from there you make your music. But deep down, you are still Sephardic. You are still bringing that to the fore.
I bring everything, try to bring everything. It's been music is a journey of self-discovery. If you're not focused on, you know, some people think, well, how will I market myself? I don't think of myself in terms of that. My mission in music has been to, a lot of it has to do with who am I? Where do I come from? What does it mean that I was born in Gibraltar? What does it mean that I'm a Sephardic Jew? What does it mean that my family came from North Africa, moved out to Gibraltar? How do I connect to my heritage through being born where I was born, through all the influences that I've had? That to me is the fascinating thing about music, as opposed to, oh, let me market myself and find how I can sell myself or whatever, you know. Not that that's a bad thing. Is some people might want to do that. For me, what's been interesting about music is really be able to be on a journey of self-discovery, and to say, okay, well, this is what appeals to me, this is what moves me. What's happened is that growing up in Gibraltar means a lot of different things, and that's why I'm not really a highly marketable artist, because people will be like, this guy is singing in Spanish, I can't understand a word, and now he's singing in Hebrew. In fact, I do songs in French too. This beautiful song I do is Jardin d'amour que Dieu est grand, où je vais me promener mon cœur. Dans un jardin couvert de fleurs, où je vais me promener mon cœur. Mamie me fit une bouteille. That's the Pierre Massias song. I love that song.
Well,
So,
I don't know any French. I'm sure that my French viewers will understand exactly what you were saying. I must admit, I didn't. But the tone of it was warm and loving.
yeah,
So
it's a beautiful song. Yeah,
yeah.
It's this like Pierre Massias, you say, this song is called The Garden of Love. That's what
exactly.
it's called. Au jardin, up to the garden of love. You know the French.
But the French, everything, love has got to do with
Exactly.
everything.
Exactly.
They eat for love. They drink,
Exactly.
they drink for love. They dance for love. And it's a wonderful thing if you can have love with everything. And
Exactly.
you have managed to find what makes you be filled with love. And that is special, because you're passing that on to your family as well.
Yeah, in fact, my son's also a musician. Yeah, he's very talented. Yeah, I always tell him He's way more talented than I am, but he doesn't like it when I say that. But it's true.
And what kind of music
He
does
plays guitar, he plays drums. He already had a band when he was in high school. There's videos of them online and everything. They're called the Crawling Kings. They were lovely, like rock band. They made some videos. Yeah, and he's very, very talented young man. Plays piano, drums. Because I mean, we always had music in the house, and we had the studio. So he was already making records at the house, bringing his friends over. Yeah, he's thank God. Yeah,
he had a very good start in life. Where is he now?
He's actually an acoustic engineer with Apple now. He's living in San Francisco. Yeah.
He hasn't done too badly.
Yeah. Right out of college, they hired him there, and he's living in San Francisco. And he also has quite a studio. In fact, he's been buying some good gear, so he has a nice studio set up at his house now. But he does that. He designs speakers. You know, they have a nice team there that he works with. Yeah, he's very happy. Yeah.
I want to know finally what your next project is. Which way are you going now? Which direction?
So during the pandemic, when everything was up in the air, I got inspired to start to learn how to play like real flamenco. You know, I've always dabbled a little bit. You know, most guitarists can dabble a little bit of flamenco, but I wanted to go deep into proper classical flamenco, which is super complicated and complex, a lot of techniques. So I started studying that with a friend of mine who lives in Algeciras, actually, Antonio Martin. He's played on the last record that I did before the pandemic called Cadiz Blue. He's one of the guitarists that plays on it. And so I've been studying flamenco with him, and obviously by myself and on YouTube, as everybody does nowadays. You know, everything's on the internet. So using that to bring in, you know, to connect to that component of like the real flamenco, which I've always done some Sephardic things and flamenco-ish thing, you know, but I wanted to really get into it to see how flamenco works like from the inside. So that's what I've been working on, and just bringing that into my music, which is legitimately I grew up listening to that. I grew up, you know, that's part of the music that I grew up listening to. We used to watch Spanish TV, and we grew up within Spanish culture, whether we like it or not. You know, we especially our generation, we used to watch Spanish TV all the time.
Yeah.
So that's been very exciting, and it's really opened up a whole new set of paradigms in terms of my playing and where I can go with music and what I can do. And I've been recording a little bit of that while I'm here now with Antonio. We did some recordings last week, and I'm bringing that more into jazz, and you know, just exploring, continuing the journey of exploration in terms of music, and to see what inspires me. And you know, flamenco is a great inspiration, especially as a guitarist. I mean, the flamenco guitar is one of the supreme ways of playing the guitar. So for a guitarist, you know, it makes complete sense to go there.
Elie, do you think that you can let us have a little here of a little song, a little play, a little something from your wonderful guitar?
Sure thing, yes, of course. That's loud.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Ana bekoa gedulat yeminecha atir tzedura kaber inatamecha să gevenura. Na Gibraltar, ייחודך כבבת שמרנו, פרחים טהרנו, רחמי צדקתך תמיד גמרנו.
Elie, for my non-Jewish viewers, can you just give me an idea what the words mean?
So this prayer is actually a very holy prayer. It's actually called it was written by a rabbi from the Tanai times, and he had a prophetic vision of this whole prayer. Actually contains 49 different words. So it's called it's as it was, it referred to as the God's 49, the name of God that contains the 49 words. It's a very holy prayer. Yeah. It's called Ana Bekoach. Ana Bekoach is what it's called. And there's been some other people have made melodies to it. It's a very beautiful prayer.
Very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
As we've got plenty of time, are you able to play a little bit of jazz?
Sure, yeah. Yeah. Let's see. The days of wine and roses, laugh and run away, like a child at play, through the meadowlands, toward an open door marked nevermore, that wasn't there before. Lonely night exposes just a passing breeze, filled with memories of the golden smile that introduced me to all the days of wine and roses and you.
Oh, so beautiful.
Go
And I
on.
know that song so well.
Yeah, it's a classic.
My only jazz pianist singer that I've worked with in my life was Buddy Greco.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And he was wonderful. I don't know how well you know his work.
not so good. I know the name, but I don't know his work so much.
Okay,
But I'm sure he's, just to become a name in jazz, you already have to be a great
Yes.
player. So.
His one very big song was Satin Doll. And
okay, yeah. You used to play that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember going into a nightclub every week in South Africa, and Buddy was playing there, and as I walked in, he would stop and start playing.
And start that song. That's great.
That's
great.
It was just great. Another pure flamenco.
So pure flamenco, I'm still in the process of really learning proper flamenco. I wouldn't do it justice. I'm on that journey. It's a very deep, very complex music that I'm on the path to that. I wouldn't want to, you know,
Spoil it.
misrepresent it. You know what I mean?
Are there any other songs that you can give us that you would like to play us out with?
I mean, there's a lot of Sephardic songs like La mujer de Tera al campo salía, miraba las estrellas y al the world. Viva que de santo que iba todos los días, que había de nacer Abraham. Abraham vino, Padre querido, Padre bendito, luz de Israel. Abraham vino, Padre querido, Padre bendito, luz de Israel. La 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 la. It's a bit of that, yeah.
Oh, I want
I haven't played that one in a while, but yeah.
You have spoiled us rotten. To my viewers, I want you to just listen and enjoy the music of Elie Massias. And what I want to know from you, when people want to find out how to find you, you've got a website, you've got a YouTube.
Yeah, I have a website. I have all that stuff. Basically, if you type my name in Google, Elie, my last name is Massias. I'm the only person who has that name, so everything that shows up on Google will be me. So you'll see the videos, my website, links to Spotify, the music, you know, and all kinds of stuff. Everything's there. So yeah,
I really feel so proud that I've managed to get hold of you in such a short visit to Gibraltar. You're on your way back to New York, and thank you for sharing your music, your story, and everything about you. And I wish you and the family well. And next time you come back to this side of the coast, we will have more music from you. But in the meantime, I say thank you. Un beso.
Thank you, un beso. Thank you very much.
And to my viewers, I say thank you so much for watching. Really, I never know who's going to be on. I keep telling you that every week. And every week I surprise not only you, but myself. What about what we've just heard today? It's something that I haven't heard before. So in the meantime, take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.